Greetings. Welcome, dear travelers of thought and seekers of meaning. Today, we embark on a journey into the realm of the seraphim, the burning ones, beings of celestial fire, whose very existence is a testament to the mysteries of creation. This is not merely a story. It is a reflection, an invitation to contemplate our place in the infinite web of being. If this tale ignites a spark within you, if it resonates with the eternal questions of your heart, I encourage you to like and subscribe so we can continue exploring together. Now, let us begin, as all things must, with the beginning. The nature of the seraphim. Before time as we know it began, there was the divine, the ineffable source from which all things spring and to which all things return. From the divine came the angels, celestial beings whose existence was a manifestation of divine will and purpose. Among these, the seraphim were the highest order, closest to the throne of eternity itself. The seraphim were not beings of flesh or matter, but of pure flame. Flames that neither consumed nor were consumed. Their fire was not merely heat or light, but an expression of divine love and passion, a burning devotion to the source that gave them life. Unlike mortals, the seraphim did not perceive time as a linear path or existence as a sequence of events. To them, all moments were present, all possibilities intertwined. They existed in a state of perpetual adoration, their very essence resonating with the unending hymn of the divine. Their name, seraphim, comes from the ancient tongue and means the burning ones. But what is it they burned for? It was not blind obedience or duty, but something far greater. A yearning to reflect the infinite love of the source, to be vessels of its boundless light. The hymn of the seraphim. The seraphim did not speak as mortals do, for words are limited, bound by the confines of form and thought. Instead, they sang, a song not made of sound but of essence, a hymn that echoed through all creation. This hymn was the music of existence itself. It was the rhythm of galaxies spinning in the void, the harmony of life blossoming on. Countless worlds, the melody of souls striving, yearning, and returning to the source. To hear the hymn was to understand the interconnectedness of all things, to feel the pulse of the divine in every atom and star. But the hymn was not static. It evolved as creation evolved, adapting to the shifting patterns of existence. The seraphim were not mere performers of this song, but co-creators, their flames shaping and being shaped by the infinite tapestry of being. Yet, even in their perfection, the seraphim did not claim to fully understand the source. They knew that the divine was beyond comprehension, that its essence was a paradox, a unity that contained all dualities, a light that encompassed both shadow and brilliance. And so, their hymn was not a statement, but a question, an eternal inquiry into the nature of the infinite, the paradox of proximity. To be a seraph was to stand closest to the divine, to bask in its radiance without being consumed. But this proximity was both a blessing and a burden. The light of the source was so pure, so overwhelming, that even the seraphim, beings of celestial fire, trembled before it. They saw, with unbearable clarity, the perfection of the divine and the imperfection of creation. They saw the beauty of life but also its fragility, the harmony of existence but also its dissonance. They understood that the divine allowed this imperfection, not out of neglect but out of love, for creation was a process, a journey toward wholeness. Yet some among the seraphim struggled with this paradox. How could the source, the embodiment of perfection, allow suffering to exist? How could it permit the silence that sometimes drowned the hymn, the darkness that obscured the light? These questions did not arise from doubt but from love. A love so fierce that it burned. And it was this love that set the seraphim apart from all other beings. For their devotion was not blind but luminous, born of a deep yearning to understand and align with the will of the source. The descent of the seraphim. There came a time when the hymn of the seraphim grew quieter, not because the source had changed, but because creation had become more complex. Shadows had deepened, and the cries of mortal beings had grown louder, their pain reverberating through the fabric of existence. The seraphim, in their infinite compassion, turned their gaze outward. They saw worlds where the light of the source was faint, where beings struggled to hear the hymn amidst the noise of their own fears and desires. And so, some of the seraphim chose to descend, not in rebellion, but in love, not to judge but to guide. They cloaked their flames in forms that mortals could comprehend. becoming messengers, guardians, and teachers. But the descent was not without cost. To step into the realm of matter was to experience limitation, to feel the weight of time and the pull of entropy. The seraphim who descended bore these burdens willingly, their flames dimming as they walked among the shadows. The trials of the seraphim. As they moved through creation, the seraphim encountered the complexity of mortal existence. They saw the beauty of free will, but also its consequences, the choices that led to suffering, the ignorance that bred fear. They saw beings who had turned away from the light, not out of malice, but because they believed themselves unworthy of it. The seraphim wept for these souls, their tears becoming rivers of light that flowed through the darkness. But they did not despair, for they understood that the journey of creation was not a straight path, but a spiral, a dance of falling and rising, forgetting and remembering. They sang their hymn in the language of mortals, weaving it into stories, symbols, and songs. They whispered truths into the hearts of those who would listen, reminding them that the light was not distant but within, that the hymn was not lost, but waiting to be heard. Yet not all welcomed their presence. There were those who saw the seraphim as intruders, as threats to the order they had built. There were those who misunderstood their fire, mistaking it for wrath instead of love. And there were those who sought to extinguish their light, fearing the truths it revealed. The eternal dance, the seraphim's journey through creation, did not have an end, for their purpose was not to complete, but to participate. They understood that the hymn was not a destination but a process, a living melody that evolved with every choice, every moment, every being. Their flames became both a beacon and a mirror, reflecting the light of the source and illuminating the shadows of existence. They did not seek to erase the darkness but to transform it, to show that even in the deepest shadow, the light of the source could be found. In time, some of the seraphim returned to the celestial realms, their flames enriched by their journey through creation. Others remained among mortals, their fire a quiet but steadfast presence. And some became myths, their stories woven into the fabric of mortal cultures, symbols of hope and transcendence. The wisdom of the seraphim. The seraphim taught that the divine is not a distant ruler, but the essence of all things, that the light and the shadow are not enemies but partners in the dance of existence. They taught that the hymn is not a command but an invitation, a song that each being must find within themselves. They taught that to burn is not to destroy, but to transform, to illuminate, to purify. Their fire was not a fire of judgment but of love, a love that embraces all things, even the imperfect and the broken. And they taught that the journey of creation is a sacred one, that every fall is an opportunity to rise, every silence a prelude to a new song. Closing remarks. Dear friends, as we conclude this journey into the realm of the seraphim, let us carry their wisdom in our hearts. They remind us that we are not separate from the light, but part of it, that our struggles and questions are not flaws, but pathways to deeper understanding. If this story has resonated with you, if it has kindled a flame of curiosity or inspiration, let us know by liking or subscribing, so we can continue exploring these timeless truths together. Until we meet again, may your soul burn with the fire of love, a flame that transforms, illuminates, and connects you to the infinite.